Here it is, the bow tie, and it's a Friday night with nothing else to do, so we're gonna fix a car, just front brakes. It's gonna be quick. Hopefully this helps you somehow. It's not an instructional video, it's just to say you can probably do it. At least now you've seen it. You've seen a knucklehead do it in his own driveway that doesn't really know what he was doing. It's meant to be an encouragement. You can probably do it. I mean, maybe. I don't know you. If it helps, then hit the thumbs thing and the subscribe button. My kids tell me if enough people do that, I'll be able to buy a coffee once a year. So go for that. Anyway, here we go. First we gotta get the car up in the air. You're gonna figure that out on your own. On mine, this is what we're gonna do. There's a bolt right here. It's a 15 mil head. There's a bolt right here. It's a 14 mil head. And there's two that are the same down on the bottom. You can see them. One's right here. One's in here somewhere. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen this one. I already have, actually. I'm gonna make those nice and loose. I'm gonna loosen these. These take this caliper bracket off. These separate the caliper from the mounting bracket and the slide pins. And so what I'm gonna do is take this caliper off. Right here, I'm gonna hang it up here. And then I'm gonna take the bracket off. That's what holds your brake pads in. We're gonna change the brake pads, squeeze the caliper back, put everything back on. I'll show you. Set that over there. Take this one out. I'll just set it over there now. I was in here not long ago, so that should come out of there fairly easy. Pry that caliper. It should slide right off of there, unless it's really stuck. I've got an old wire that I'm going to put right through here and hang up on my spring right there so that can hang with no pressure on the brake line. That's what we're going to do. And then pop this off. And then go down the bottom. I think you can see it. Pop that one off. Strong enough I don't need a ratchet. Kidding, I already used the ratchet. Now that those bolts are out, should be able to just wrestle that right off there, and we can. So we're gonna take these brake pads out of there because they're, you know, getting worn down. They're not terrible, but I'll show you the reason I'm changing stuff right now. There's life left in those. But this is what this rotor looks like. So my new brake pads did not come with these clips, so I'm going to leave those in there. I'm going to wrestle these old ones out, which might take two hands. I'm a parts pack rat. I'm going to set those aside. The only time I might reuse them is if one of my other ones just breaks, loses a big piece, and I can't get to the parts store. Otherwise, we'll never see those again. These slide pins are supposed to slide, and they do. So I'm just going to pull those, add a little bit of brake lubricant to it, and put them back in. Perfect. Now we're going to install the brake pads. I'm going to throw just a little bit. I don't know if you're supposed to do this or not, but it makes the brake pads going in easier. New brake pad versus old brake pad. So, you know, half gone, not worn even. No big deal. Slide that in there. Get that lined up. I'm gonna need two hands for the job, probably. If you've not already figured it out, your rotor comes off like this. Done. There's no set screws or anything like that. If it's seized on there, well, that's a bad day. New brake pads installed, slide pins, sliding. Perfect. Put the new rotor on now. I've already taken the old one off. It's in a heap over there. And as a lot of manuals would say, installation is the opposite of removal. So it goes on, you know, like that. That's all there is to it. And then we're gonna put this back on here and put our bolts in. I'm gonna go ahead and torque those mounting bolts before I put the caliper on, because there's just not as much stuff in the way at that point in time, and you can get at them easier. There's the bottom one. According to some random guy in an internet forum, 85 foot-pounds is what the book says. Here's the thing about getting torque specs from some random fella on the internet. I could be wrong. You need to learn to look them up for yourself. But that's what the random dude in the forum said. Okay, it's time to push this caliper piston, I think it's called, back in. It looks like it's leaking. It's not. What I've done, this stuff here is a chain lubricant for a bike chain. I peel that back and I put some in there. You don't have to do that. In fact, some people might tell you that you shouldn't, but I do, because I'm reusing the caliper and I want to save some money. And let's face it, if I had money to throw around, I'd pay somebody to do this job, and I don't. So I'm gonna try to make the caliper last longer by doing that. I don't have any fancy tools. This one doesn't need them. I'm gonna throw an old brake pad in there. I'm gonna put a C-clamp right here, and I'm gonna wind this back in. If it's not super seized, as I turn the clamp, get my hand out of the way, that goes back in, just like that. And that lubricant that I put on it is now on the inside of that piston. So, you know, hopefully that doesn't hurt anything. It won't. Okay, with that wound back in, you should be able to just work that on. You might have to push your slide pin in some. And there's a little piece right there, and your slide pins have straight edges on this side and the other one that you got to work around. Top and bottom, once they're lined up, bolts go in. You'll figure it out. You played with shapy things as a kid, right? Hopefully. There's the bottom one, perfect. Bottom bolt will go in right there. We'll run those in and get them torqued. Same random internet forum fella that told us 85 for the caliper mount bracket mount bolts, is that what they're called? Says 25 for the caliper pins. So 85, 25. Just like that, job's done. The wheel goes back on, we're heading to the other side. Now, if that was at all helpful, you're welcome. And if it wasn't, well, I didn't make you waste the time. It's just a video to say you can probably do it. An old mechanic told me that when I was a lot younger. I learned to work on cars to save money. Maybe this will help you too, or maybe not, I don't know. I don't know you, but if it does, I'm told there's a red button or a bell or a thumb or I don't know. If you click one of those, apparently it'll help me buy a coffee, according to my teenagers. There's that. I'm gonna go to the other side. If you wanna hang around, we'll show you that, kind of sped up, and then we're all done. Have a good one. Well, there it is. The bow tie's got both front wheels back on. We're gonna put her back on a pause and down on this side. Kick the blocks out, fancy blocking, and take her for a drive. Okay, that's that. Now the fun part, we leave the yard to go seat the brakes. Yep. Which basically just means heat them up real good and then drive them to cool them down. I'm sure there's videos online about that. If this helped you somehow, well, like I said, I'm glad. If it didn't, well, I didn't make you watch it. I've actually got a playlist full of stuff for Cobalts, because the more we have this car, the more I have to do. And Pathfinders and Frontiers, and I'm working on one for a Dodge and a Volkswagen and a Suzuki motor. So I'm just saying there's more stuff because I waste a lot of time doing this. Anyway, have a good one.